Okay, guys, I'm sorry about the buzzing. They are cutting the lawn outside of my building, and I've waited a little bit, but I'm not very patient. So we're just going to get this thing started. Hey, everyone, welcome into the Sports Report. If you're new here, my name is Emily Peters, and I am your host. And the fact that I am still in this hoodie, bundled up inside of this building, I've been inside for the past couple hours, and the coldness is quite literally in my bones. I am so over this cold weather. I am not into it at all. I'm currently doing the 75 hard challenge just to offer you a little glimpse into my personal life. And if you're not familiar with 75 hard, there's a bunch of different requirements. But one of them is you have to do 2 workouts a day. They each have to be 45 minutes, and one of them has to be outside. And of course, my logic going into this is it's going to be so much easier in the winter time. I mean, who wants to be outside in Florida in the summer? It's hot. I'd just be sweating. Oh, it just sounds horrible. But let me tell you, dare I say, the winter is worse. I went for a walk yesterday and it wasn't even as cold as it is today. And my face is numb. I can't speak because my lips are just chapped and numb. And my goodness, I wouldn't recommend it. I'd say do it over the summer because I think I almost would rather be sweating my butt off than freezing. If you're enjoying this weather, good for you. I am not. One of the other requirements is to drink a gallon of water a day, and that is also hard when you're freezing all day, hence this like giant water jug next to me. So don't mind that. But anyway, today I have some really exciting stuff planned for you. First and foremost, one of my favorite interviews I've done all year. And I know I say that about every interview. I've loved all of them, but this one I'm very serious about. It's with head coach of North Florida Christian, Brent Hill. And Brent Hill was phenomenal for me to work with both this year and last year. He set up some connections for me with an ACC reporter. I'm actually speaking with her tonight, so I'm very excited about that. But he's just a really awesome guy who really cares about the school and the team very, very much. They went 9-4 this year. They ended up losing in the 3rd round of the playoffs, so they did pretty well. All things considered, they started off 0-2, went on a 6-game winning streak, which one of those games came off of a forfeit, which he will tell us all about in the interview. But 6-game winning streak nonetheless. Lost a game to Wakulla that was covered by us on Friday Night Rivals. And then went on to make it, a few rounds in the playoffs, and obviously got that 4th loss in round 3, but a really solid, nice year for Coach Hill and the Eagles. Last year, they went 11-1. This year, it doesn't look as good on paper, but the talent that they had, what they dealt with injuries, it forced them to establish some depth and really set them up for the upcoming season. So that is what's coming up from Coach Hill. On the other side of the interview, I have some really exciting news. So stay tuned, and here is Coach Hill. The first thing I want to talk to you about is I saw on Max Preps, did Rocky Bayou forfeit last week?
They did. Apparently, they were having some kind of issue with officials. They were using officials that were not approved by the Athletic Association. Wednesday afternoon, I guess the Athletic Association called and fined them. And so then it was late Wednesday afternoon. They could not find officials for our game, so they elected to forfeit.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We were, had buses scheduled and everything ready to go. And then we tried to reschedule it, but they couldn't come up with a date, so they just forfeited.
Gotcha. Dang. Were you like aware of that before, or was it like Wednesday that you found out?
In fact, I got a phone call late Wednesday night that, they were trying to find officials. It wasn't until Thursday night that I found out officially that they were going to forfeit.
Wow.
You spend the week practicing and everything, and then it's just been crazy for us this year with officials.
Right. Well, I mean, on Friday, were you guys able to get some like extra practice in or have like a rest day?
I actually gave them a rest day, mostly because, we didn't trade film with Wakulla yet.
Mm-hmm.
Got that film late Friday night. So we just regrouped and staff met together on Sunday and then we practiced yesterday.
You mentioned, it's been kind of a weird year for you guys, but after losing the first two, you guys have been doing better for sure. What has been the difference for your team?
For us, it was about getting healthy, to be honest. We were kind of banged up going into the season. And so we had two starters, well, one game, three starters that only played a half. They were just banged up. We had hamstring injuries and some sprained knee. And so for us, it was a matter of, getting healthy. And then the backups, the guys that were kind of new, they were thrown into the fire. And so now they're a little more experienced. So, we feel a little better prepared in case some of those guys go down now.
Well, as I mentioned before, I think the thing we're both looking forward to the most as a broadcast team is this quarterback matchup between Pickles and Cleese, two of the best quarterbacks in the area for sure. What similarities do you see between them, but also what is special about JP?
It's interesting. Both are great game managers. And what I mean by that is they don't feel like they've got to do it by themselves. You can see they distribute it amongst their teammates, the five other guys. I've been very impressed with Hayden when I watch him on film. He sets his feet, he makes a quick throw. He doesn't have many, in fact, he's got very little turnovers. He does not have many interceptions at all. And I think Coach Cleese has done a great job with setting up his offense is different this year. And he's done a good job of really setting it and customizing it to what they have. I think both are very smart. The thing that I would say about JP, I don't know if I've ever coached a kid that is a gamer as much as him. He doesn't get rattled. He's a very physical kid for a quarterback. That's different too. But I can honestly tell you, I've never seen him really panic. He's very calm, collective. He's a tough kid. He's used to the bullets being, fired at him. And honestly, he looks like a guy that's been starting for 3 years. You can do some things with him that you wouldn't be able to do with an average high school quarterback.
Yeah, you mentioned Wakulla's offense this season, and this will be the fourth time we've seen them in it. They've been very hard to slow down. What do you think is going to be the key for your team to kind of break through that defense that they have and also slow down their offense?
Well, their offense, I don't know if you can truly stop them. You just need to slow them down if you can. What I'm hoping is we can eliminate the big plays. It seems like in the games that we've seen, they have a lot of big plays of 15 yards or more. So we're hoping we can keep everything in front of us and make them consistently take as many snaps as they can before they score instead of giving them 3 to 4 plays and letting them score. On their defense, they've done a good job too. That's the thing that no one's paying attention to. Of course, everybody sees the offense and how they're scoring, but they have played really well defensively. They mix up their coverages. They're going to give you a 6-man box. Sometimes they'll give you a 5-man box. The one thing I'll say is I see they're doing a lot of different stuff with their safeties, and they're not just sitting in one thing, which is really you don't see that much in high school. So their defense coordinator is definitely going to make you work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like you said, they have 3 shutouts, and you can't really ignore that. I know sometimes when your offense is performing that well, that does get lost, but it's a very, very good point that you make.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch their offense, they're not turning it over.
Mm-hmm.
They're creating turnovers and they're stopping people. And then this year with the special teams, he's been a little more aggressive. I mean, they're going for two. You'll see them onside kick more. I mean, so you better be alert the entire game.
I do want to talk more about some of your guys too coming up. I see both Pickles and Josh Schutz are committed to Austin P. So, what is their relationship dynamic like?
They're very close. I've been here 3 years and they've been with me the entire time. Josh is a tight end that can also play receiver. and he's got he's got good speed for the size that he has. So it'll be really interesting to see, do they put more weight on him in college and make him a true tight end, or does he keep or do they want to keep him thin and make him a receiver, because he could really do both. And I'm sure it doesn't hurt, with him going, and of course JP, they've played together so long, so they know each other. I'm pretty sure that that's a nice addition, JP feeling comfortable having a guy that he's played with for a long time. And of course Josh would feel the same way, knowing it's his quarterback. So they've done a heck of a job recruiting Austin Peay. I mean, they really have. I've been impressed with Coach Walden. He came down multiple times. He likes our kids. He's very relational, and he does a good job of staying in touch with them. He really does.
That's got to be a good comfort zone for the two of them too, going off to college and just knowing that not only do you have like a friend there, but you have a teammate and someone that you're very comfortable playing with on a new team. So, and
Right.
that's awesome. I saw their announcements on Twitter and they seem like they're very involved already.
They are. They love Austin Peay, and they're gonna. Both of those young men, I expect, we'll still hear about them down the road. They'll do well there.
Josh seems like such a well-rounded kid. I was looking at his Twitter. He's got a great GPA, and that's something I noticed just kind of throughout your entire team is the GPAs are impressive. What does that bring to the locker room?
Well, I mean, for me as a coach, I mean, obviously it's great to have guys with good grades and high IQs. You can do quite a bit. But I mean, honestly, that is something, our school has done a good job, but they're also, their families have made academics important. So they're not just guys that, are just here to play football, if that makes sense. They understand the academic side. And a lot of that, and this, your school setting is very important, but a lot of it has to do with your parents, how you're raised, and the parents making it an important emphasis. So, to be honest with you, I don't think we have anybody probably below a 2.5, on the team. So it's just kind of expected when you come here.
It's like the parents, but it's also you can't have the guys that work hard for you on the field and then it goes both ways. Like they're not going to work hard for you and then not work hard in the classroom. It's who
Your
they are.
your character is going to show up no matter what you're doing, not just on the field. You can't just give your best on the field. It should be in the classroom as well. You're correct.
Exactly. Now, just a few more of your players. Leon Washington is a guy that stands out to me, obviously statistically, but it was so fun to watch him last year, too. I think he was our player of the game. What allows him to be so successful on the field?
Leon, it's funny. You look at it statistically. I mean, let me see, I think he's thrown a touchdown. He's called a touchdown. He's ran a touchdown. I mean, he's a unique athlete. Very, very talented. He's got a personality bigger than he is, but he's also very humble. And, one of the things yesterday we're talking in practice and we're doing different things. And this will tell you what kind of kid he is. I mean, he literally told me, he's like, Coach, I could care less how many times I touch it. He said, whatever it takes for our team to win. And that's not normal. And so I'm thankful that he understands that. I mean, Josh is a dynamic kid too that a lot of people don't see. But it's funny. Everybody they normally notice Leon. He's quick, he's flashy, he plays well on both sides of the ball. And truthfully, if you're a defense, you got to know where he is, because he will catch you off guard quick.
I love to hear that he says that kind of thing in practice too, because I mean, a kid that can do so much in so many different positions, you're exactly right. It just says exactly who he is.
He's committed to FAU, and they've already got a guy that's graduating that he's going in that position. And so it wouldn't shock me a bit if he ends up starting as a true freshman in college. I mean, he's passionate, he's a hard worker, and I mean, he's dynamic. So he's one of those guys that all three of the ones we're talking about, I'll be really honest with you, they're the kind of guys that make the coaches look pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Is he committed as a receiver there?
He is. He
Okay.
is.
I figured, but the other one is Ashton Gaynor. I spoke with Amari on the sideline last year about his little brother, and he just
hmm
seems like he's blossoming. I was listening to you on a podcast from like a few years ago, I think when you first got the job over at NFC, and he was a sophomore, and you've kind of watched him grow. So, what has that been like for you?
Ashton is one of our quieter guys on the team, and I love him. He cracks me up. He's secretly kind of becoming the ball hawk on defense. I joke with him like when he plays defense, he just naturally finds the ball. I was trying so hard to force him in so many different offensive positions, and I finally have come to grips that he's just naturally comfortable in defense. And it's funny. I mean, I put him at receiver. I put him at running back. I put him at quarterback, and he's so athletic. But it's like you're forcing it there. But then you put him on defense, and you just see him naturally just play, and he's more comfortable. He leads our team in interceptions. He's another very sharp. I mean, he's a very smart student. I think he's got a 28, I believe, on his ACT, and he's got over a 4.0 on his, for his GPA. Multi-sport athlete. Every one of the kids we talked about are. But Ashton is like, I mean, as a parent, I've got two kids. He's the kid that's quiet, that sometimes gets overlooked, but then you look back and smile when you see him because he's such a great kid, man. He really is just a humble, good kid that wants to please. I mean, he's a joy to coach. He really is.
That's so ironic about him not really working out as a receiver. Obviously, he's comfortable on defense, but 5 interceptions is a lot of seasons for guys, So it's just ironic.
It drives it like I mean I joke with him about it. I'm like, man, I swear if I like try to design a play specifically, it just doesn't naturally happen. When I put him on offense, but you put him on defense and you'll watch him. I mean, he naturally goes and gets it. So I joke with him like, just don't think about it. Just let the game come to you. He's a great kid, man. His brother is a great guy too, Amari. Yeah,
Yeah, I was pretty sad to see him go, but
that
I
makes
feel like he's done what's good
yes.
for him.
He looks good at UNC.
He
I'm
does.
happy. I'll selfishly being a Seminole fan. I hate losing him, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. I completely agree with you, but I mean, what do you think Ashton's going to do? Does he have any interest anywhere?
He does. I had a school come by just this week. I think Ashton might be a kid that ends up playing both baseball and football. So it'll be a smaller level that'll let him do both. But I had a school come by last Wednesday, talk to me about him.
Well, I mean, if that's something he'd be interested in doing, I know the UCF quarterback is also on the baseball team and he's pretty good at both. So, you
Oh yeah,
never know.
oh yeah, Plumley. He's doing a great job.
Mhm. Okay, the last guy that I have on my list is OJ Vaughn. I'm assuming his nickname is Juice because like orange juice, which I love. But
OJ,
what does he bring to the team?
OJ is truthfully, I would say he's our captain on the defensive side. You're seeing him a little more on offense this year. He's just a kid that gives everything he has. He moved down here 3 years ago from New Jersey. He was at Don Bosco. Just an awesome kid. He was the homecoming king. I mean, he's a brilliant kid. Really quiet, has a $1 million smile. But when it comes to competitive, man, he's one of those kids that's been battling injuries all year. But let me guess, he's probably third on our team in receptions. He runs the ball also, but then he'll be the guy that'll always be in the top five in tackles. He's the guy that makes all the calls on the defense. You will not outwork him. He is. It's hilarious. Yesterday we were talking through the plays, and he already picked up tendencies, and he's talking to me. He's like a coach on the field. Uh, he's a lot of fun, man. We've got a great group of seniors that all miss greatly after the season.
Yeah, you do have a lot of seniors, and I was noticing that. I was going to ask you if your team just is kind of older this year.
Well, if you remember my first year, we were the youngest team, and we were like taking a beating out there. And so all of those guys have been with me those 3 years. And so they're no longer inexperienced. They're veterans and they know what it takes. And we know, to beat a team like Wakulla, we're going to have to play, close to a perfect game. They're really talented. This is the best Wakulla team I've seen. But, I also believe this. We have a talented group too. And, you know, I think sometimes people overlook us a little bit because we're smaller. But this is a great group of guys. I wouldn't want to coach a different group. I believe in them. It doesn't matter win, lose, or draw, man. This is a great group to coach, and they make it fun to go to practice. They really do.
Welcome back, everyone. I feel like I need to be honest with you guys and clarify. They are not cutting the grass outside. They are blowing leaves. And if you could imagine, they are still doing it. So please try to ignore the buzzing behind me. And I will as well. But thank you again to Coach Hill. Great conversation. I wish you guys the best of luck in the off season. And if I have the opportunity to cover these games again next year, I look forward to the opportunity of speaking with you again. And that goes out to all the coaches, because that was the last coach interview that I have to post. So kind of wrapping up this high school football season. Thank you so much to everyone who, worked with me and made this possible, because it was really fun for me. I feel like it added a new dimension to the games. Even though we're a little bit late posting them. I'm just feeling a lot of gratitude, so thank you. One last coach that I want to give a very special shout out to is Jimmy Tyson from Lincoln High School. I wasn't able to really conduct a podcast interview with him during the season. It's hard. A lot of these high school football coaches are not just coaching high school. They have teacher positions. They have all kinds of things that they need to do on a daily basis. And it just gets busy. So my conversations with him were more related to research I needed to do as the sideline reporter. Again, if I have the opportunity to do these games again next year, I hope to bring him on here to the podcast and give you guys kind of an inside look at his program, because Lincoln is awesome. They went 9-3. Their defense was gross. That is an identity of Lincoln High School. Jimmy Tyson does an incredible job with them. And he provided me with some protection this year. Actually, if you missed any of the games, they are all posted on this channel. And I strongly encourage you to go back and reference the Wakulla at Rickards game at this moment. Because I got tackled on the sideline. I just absolutely got annihilated, hit right to kind of the gut area, and then hit my head back on the turf. It was not fun. Actually, the kid from Wakulla that was involved in the tackle came to me a couple games after and said, it was me that tackled you. And I'm not going to expose him right here on this podcast, but if you want to know who it was, you can go back to that game and see. But anyway, the following week, we had Lincoln versus Leon, that big rivalry game. So I reached out to Jimmy Tyson and asked him if he had some extra gear laying around. And he brought me the shoulder pads. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but the shirt with the shoulder pads and then a helmet. So I was very protected for that game. And, I appreciated that. So, again, you can catch all of that action on this channel if you'd like to see me take a tumble. It was not fun, but it's definitely funny to look back on. Anyway, now looking forward, I have some really exciting stuff. I'm looking at some in-person interviews. I'm not going to spoil anything, but that's what's coming up. So as we wrap up these high school football coaches, we're looking ahead some really, really exciting interviews. So yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes. And I really appreciate everyone who has followed along thus far. So thank you for watching. Everyone stay warm. And as always, go Noles.